Today we have a conversation with Tom Gumpel and Isha Demir of the broker and baker team at Preferred Shore. We go into their background, how they began their career in real estate, came together, and are now helping customers find their sense of place. So without further ado, please enjoy this conversation with Tom and Isha. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. I'm really excited to be working with you and to have this conversation.
Awesome. Thanks for having us. We're really excited about being here.
Of course. Well, so I'd like to first, of course, just go into your background and to have a chance for everybody to learn more about you individually and then also together as the broker and baker team, which is really exciting. So ladies first, we'll start with you,
Okay.
Isha.
Thank you. So broker and baker is new, but I'm in the business still almost 7 years. And Tom and I, we decided to get something the fresh and new that is gonna show about us. So we decided to get a broker and baker team.
Yes.
We are so excited for that. It's gonna be different and very cool.
Of course, and we've had some conversations about it offline, and I'm very excited about it as well. I think it's going to be a very dynamic way to work with people here in our local market areas.
Yeah, I've been in the industry, the hospitality industry, for all of my life. And when we talked about myself going out there and getting a real estate license and venturing into this new career at my age, I stubbornly thought that if I'm going to do this, it would have to use my previous knowledge. Mm-hmm. And how would we bring my career into this without it being too wonky and too silly, right?
Sure.
But this seems like this is the hospitality industry at its very purest form.
It is.
And so far it's been really comfortable for me to work my way into it,
Yeah. Well, would love to get into some of your background in a few moments. I'd like to maybe before we do so, Isha, talk about you're an immigrant from Turkey.
Sure.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about your story.
So I'm originally from Turkey, Istanbul, and 2009 I decided to come to United States for just vacation. That vacation became my hometown. So since 2009, I'm living in the United States for Florida, and now I'm counting based on my age. I spent more than a quarter time of my life has been here. Mm-hmm. And as a Turkish here, I feel very confident about to do for the real estate business. My background has been coming from an art, so I went to art school in Turkey.
Okay.
And I never imagined myself one day I'm gonna be a real estate agent that time. So after I moved here, and I was looking what can I do differently here other than art and designing, graphic design. So, and I was watching a lot of HGTV to learn and improve my English and to learn the different stuff. So it's very impressive me. I said, okay, let me try to be a real estate agent. Mm-hmm. And I love to check for the open houses that time. And anytime when I visit for the weekend, it become my hobby to go visit the open houses. Mm-hmm. So after I said, okay, let me take the course and try it. And after, I love it. I love to be in real estate. And anytime when I'm struggling or has some hard time, I remind myself, I love my job and this is a part of it, so I have to continue that way.
Yes.
And after it's been be a Turkish bilingual, I started to receive a phone call organically. The people who are Turkish decide to move here or who has been living here, they finding me somewhere and they said, we would like to buy a house, can you help us? And for the past client, I said, this is so cool. So I don't have to be, I found my niche as being naturally. Mm-hmm. And when we met with Tom, he said I inspired him for the real estate. Actually, I sold his 2 houses before.
Fantastic.
Then he said, how can I help you? And I'm thinking for maybe we can do something together. How can I support your business? He said, why you don't think about to get your license? Then we can create our team and we can work together. Mm-hmm. So during that time, we were thinking what we can do differently. And now I'm working almost 80% Turkish customer.
Is that right? Okay.
Mm-hmm. But I have local customer too.
Of course.
So now it's being the dynamic that Tom can work with the local people. I can work with for the international investors and local Turkish people. So it's been making more strong and our business, and also we can serve more people. So that makes for the stronger team. And broker baker is being. I was planning to get my broker license.
I see.
And after I said, okay, I'm gonna get my broker license, and you're a baker. Why we are not creating a team named Broker and Baker? And Preferred Shore is being perfect, umbrella for us and supporting us. So we said, let's go. That's destiny.
That's really fascinating.
So you can see, as an immigrant from Connecticut, this is my inspiration, as you could tell.
Well, I didn't know that you're a past happy customer, which is a perfect story. That makes the story
that's part of
even better.
the beginning of how we met. It was all entangled in real estate deals.
One of my hardest deal, I can tell you.
That's funny.
That's a whole podcast on its own.
Yeah, but I never give up. We close finally.
Well, I'm curious about a couple of things. One, I'm just not particularly well attuned to the Turkish community that we have locally. Is it a pretty sizable population of Turkish immigrants, would you say? I don't know much.
It is actually. I was surprised because when I moved to Sarasota, I guess we were like 100 families around, 80. Now it's been a lot. So there is some international market opened here, and Turkish business owners has been for the community has been getting more expanding. And I heard as the Tampa and St. Pete area has been for the more Turkish people has been moving. So other than in New York, New Jersey, and other states, whoever lives in over there, the Turkish people already, after COVID, as you know, this Florida become more popular state for the local, the moving, and we getting more and more the Turkish people around. I guess I can say maybe is 1,000 families around now. Since I started the business.
Very interesting, more than I would have guessed.
And if you see a granite job being done in a kitchen or a bathroom, it's almost always going to be
odds
Turkish.
are it's a Turkish family. Interesting.
Yeah. But the interesting one thing that I'm the one of 3 Turkish agents in the town.
Okay.
So other 2 Turkish agents, they're not really concentrate maybe for the working with the Turkish customer.
Okay.
Even I know that some of them they're not introduce themselves for the Turkish. So maybe that's why I'm receiving a call. And I changed my name because my original name is Ayşegül, and it's so hard to pronounce and spell. So it's been getting more harder. One time when I started to work here, the retail store before the real estate business, my manager told me, your name is so hard to pronounce. Can I use a nickname? I said, sure. She said, I'm going to call you Isha. And I said, okay. So Ayşegül become Isha. Now is being using my name is Isha Demir. Demir is a Turkish last name too.
Okay.
And the customer is asking, are you Turkish? I said, yes, I'm Turkish.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you speak Turkish too? I said, yes. So after they said, be very comfort for to communicate our native language when we are buying a house. So my last customer has been find me from website, searching a Turkish real estate agent in Sarasota. She find out me, she called me, and then conversation started. And they're very, the personality in the Turkish culture has been very no patient. They said, okay, I find a house, I just want to make an offer. Can you just, I said, okay, so slow down.
Yes.
So I can help you. Let's start for the consultation. Let's get together and I can learn what you are looking for. How can I help you? No, I know. I'm going to buy all cash just today. Just help me. I said, okay, I will help you. So after we have closing this Monday.
Oh, fantastic.
And she's very excited. She said, you helped me a lot. And how can I show my appreciation? I don't know. I said, just send me more referral to Turkish customer. I can help them. So it's been kind of that is being the hearing back. It makes me more happy and excited to work more customer. But as I'm saying, the local customer the same way that I love to help everyone, not just for I cannot say I'm only working for the Turkish people.
Of course.
But there's a lot, and I created my YouTube channel 2016 when I started business.
Okay.
So I make for the bilingual, and organically the Turkish people has been watch my videos and shorts. They start to reach out me, and lots of the immigrant, they decide to move here or some partial investment.
Right, right.
So it's been they come in here, and I would like to serve, give them the service.
Of course, and we'll be sure to link to your YouTube channel in the description here.
Yeah.
So I had two more quick questions from what you had shared so far. One, I was curious if there's a particular art medium that you're most inspired by, what you were studying in art. Is it sculpture or painting or what?
It was for painting and printing. So
Okay.
we call it serigraphy in Turkish.
Okay.
It's like a kind of the printing, but mostly I do for the watercolor
Yeah.
and oil painting, and also for photography is being part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So we learned every class is mostly for drawing.
I see.
And, yeah.
Very interesting.
And I'm still continue for the part
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah, yeah.
It helps a lot for like a kind of meditation or for spending a time for the art. It helps for take myself from the all other,
Just kind of center you and
yeah.
And then lastly was you said you discovered Florida on vacation, correct? But before you were a U.S. Resident. So did you come to Sarasota for vacation, or where were you vacationing, and how did you find Sarasota?
So I was living with my roommate in Istanbul.
Okay.
And my roommate's best friend who lives in Sarasota.
Oh, okay.
Last 10 years. They were like friends from the childhood time. And it's funny because my roommate, I and my sister, one Sunday breakfast time, like in Istanbul, the Bosphorus view, they said, let's go this summer. The vacations being maybe New York or Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And my roommate told me, let's go to Onel's, his name is Anil, and he's a business person here too in the Sarasota. So I said, okay, why not? We can spend a time over there.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided to come to vacation. My roommate and my sister, they changed their mind. One of them said, no, I'm going to go to Greece. Other one said, I have to work. And I
Okay.
said, okay, that means I'm going to go by myself. So I came first New York City.
Okay.
And my friend took me, and we came from New York to Florida. 24 hours trip with the car. We stopped by all other states.
I see.
And so mostly I spend my time in vacation is the Florida and
Yes.
Sarasota that time.
And you got to see a big chunk of the eastern seaboard on the way down, it
I
sounds.
did.
That's interesting.
You know my favorite part of that story that she didn't tell? The minute she got off the airplane in New York, they got in a car with the friends and drove up to Connecticut, literally a mile from where I was living at the time in
Wow.
the woods in Connecticut at
That's-
Foxwoods Casino.
Yes.
And I
That's
happened
pretty
to
random.
be right there, right up the street.
Yeah,
And here
I
we
know
are
it.
years later.
50
Yeah,
hours,
it's funny.
no
That is-
sleep after the long trip.
Yeah.
And they said, we will take you for tonight, the fun. I said, where are we going to go? The casino. I said, really? So I was like, hallucination. And we went.
Right.
So after we talked with the Tom, he said, oh, when did you come this time? We have lost hope for the common stuff that we didn't know. We moved to Florida at the same time, the same year.
Wow.
And Tom was
On vacation,
Tom used to live
right.
Tom used to live in New York,
Yeah.
and we moved the same year, 2009, 2010.
Mm-hmm.
So we bought the first house at the same year after the market crashed.
Okay.
And it's
Yeah.
been lots of the common we have,
Yeah.
even we didn't know each other.
Yeah, how interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
just meant to be.
Yep. Yeah.
So let's learn a little bit more about you, Tom. Just start from the beginning, my man.
Well, I was born right outside New York City into a family of 10 kids. So, yeah.
And where were you in the pecking order?
One of the youngest.
Okay.
Number 8.
Okay.
The youngest boy, and then twin girls came along at the end. So,
Wow.
Yeah, I grew up in Westchester County, and then years later moved up to the coast of Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
Spent the family did. I mostly spent my time traveling around the world, cooking and experiencing food all over the world. And but my home place was always back in Connecticut.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did you? Because we'll get into your role at the CIA and all of these things, but where did the journey for culinary arts begin for you? I mean, was it like a childhood fascination that just kind of grew, or?
Yeah, in New York back at the time when I was 14, you were able to get your working papers. Your mother or father would have to bring you down to the city hall and get your little card in which you could work 10 hours a week or something while you're in junior high school.
Mm-hmm.
And a friend of ours had a little Italian restaurant in Portchester, New York, and I was slinging meatballs at 14 years old. And then I worked at Woolworth Woolco at the counter, making egg creams and grilled cheese sandwiches when I was 15 years old while going to school. And then when it started to get serious about about college, my father being a cardiologist and didn't see me quite going the path of culinary, and we kind of those are the turbulent teens between me and my dad, trying to figure out where I was going to land. Mm-hmm. So I pushed harder than he did, and I ended up sticking with it and went to the Culinary Institute of America, the CIA, in 1984 as a student. So.
Mm-hmm. And then and then you kind of ended up hanging around for some elevated roles in the future.
Yeah, I graduated from college in '86, and a week after college, someone from Norway, a business owner in Oslo, Norway, gave me a one-way ticket to do an apprenticeship in Oslo. So I went from school to Norway and lived there and learned how to bake Norwegian pastries, and they have a lot of vacations and a lot of time off, so I was constantly running down to Europe and just backpacking all around and getting experience.
Fantastic.
Then came back to the United States and worked in San Francisco in the sourdough brick ovens, and my father became pretty engaged with me at that point. Like, okay, if you're going to do this, you're going to do it right.
Yeah.
If you want to learn really solid lessons, which I didn't recognize at the time, if you're going to learn how to work with chocolate, go to Belgium and do it. Do it for a year or two, and then move on. And then if you want to learn bread on top of that, go to San Francisco, or and so he was super helpful in getting me to my goals, right? So spent a lot of time in Mexico City and Tokyo and different places, just experiencing other cuisines and cooking and building the career. And I joined the CIA later on, 10 years later, to become a teacher in the classroom, a chef instructor, and did that for a couple of years. And I was part of a group of people, 3 people that went to France and competed on the world stage for a baking competition, and we ended up winning the grand prize. And on the return back, the president of the school said, "Are you interested in the promotion to becoming the dean of the program?" So I did that and was there for 10 years after that.
Is that right? So 10 years as dean then?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
wow, that's really impressive. And
it was a good experience.
I'm sure you've had a lot of different people and personalities come through that you got to rub shoulders with, and of course lots of celebrity chefs, or now celebrity chefs. That was kind of a new phenomena that began. When would you say that the celebrity chef thing kind of began? Would that be like early 2000s, or?
Yeah, I think as the the American celebrity chefs started to pop up, I was so caught up and interested in the classical chefs.
Right.
Paul Bocuse, and the teachings of Escoffier and his lineage of chefs that have come through New York and in some of the early French restaurants, and just Jacques Papin and these really incredible chefs that have really built the foundation of cuisine in this country. So I got less caught up in some of the TV chefs.
Sure, that's understandable.
But I really respected and still do, people like Anthony Bourdain, who was really deeply rooted in doing things the right way in the classics and in technique. And so he was always an inspiration. I was young. I was 29 years old when I took the position. So I was starry-eyed when Jacques Papin would come to school and do a demonstration. I was able to sit and have dinner with him, or
right.
so it was quite an experience.
Yeah, when you first met Anthony Bourdain, as you mentioned, was that before he had a TV show or anything, or was that after?
Oh yeah, way before that. I mean, I first knew him in New York City, you know.
Okay.
And then it wasn't until later when he became a little bit more well known broadly. He came back up to the school to speak at graduation and that type of thing.
Yeah.
But Julia Child was, one of my favorite.
Oh, that's amazing.
She was amazing. I've spent a couple days with her in New York and in Portland, Oregon as well. But she was special. Very special,
I can only imagine. That's just some amazing times and experiences. It sounds like that you had. That's just fantastic.
Yeah.
So and then from the CIA, you had taken your career from the academic world into the public world, and I'm aware of Panera, and maybe you could elaborate on that a little bit. Maybe if there's some other ventures that are of interesting note to share.
Yeah, it was a huge life lesson for me, because I always have this feeling that when you become complacent in your work, some change has to happen, either by your hand or the universe, right? Mm-hmm. And that 1 year, I had a child, right? We had a daughter. I just finished writing a book with the CIA, and that was a 3-year project. I just had gotten a second bachelor's degree. It all happened within the first 3 months of that year.
Wow.
And I just sat at my desk one day, literally sat at my desk one day, looking over the Hudson River Valley, and just said, I think I'm done here. Like, what am I going to do here? Just sit in this office. And I love what I did, but I just felt like I needed something. And the memory is that the phone rang at that moment, but within that day, the phone rang, and it was one of the top people at Panera Bread, St. Louis Bread Company, Panera Bread, and the voice on the other end said, "Hey, want to come talk to you?" I said, "Well, come on to the CIA, and I'll show you what we're doing here on campus." And he came over and spent the full day with me. And that next day, he said, "Why don't you come join the team and help us grow this concept and run bakery and show us, show America what artisan baking could be like, across the whole." Ultimately 2,600 stores. So it happened exactly like it does in the movies,
Yeah, that's incredible. And so was that at a very early stage of Panera, where before they had so many locations and things?
I think we had 600 cafes, right? Somewhere around that number.
Yeah.
They had St. Louis is where they're from originally. So St. Louis and Chicago and some of those really well-vetted areas. I think Chicago had like 50 cafes just in Chicago.
Right.
But, went from there to 25 or 2,600 in the next 13 and a half years.
Right.
And it also went from public to private to public. The whole stock market transition and the growth in the stock was just amazing. And the work that was done by all of us in leadership on cleaning up the food system, no chemicals and colors and artificial flavors and all that stuff. It was a huge project and an incredible thing to be part of.
Yeah. What was your title, or if you will, or role there?
Vice President of R&D.
Okay. Yeah. And so you had kind of your fingerprint on elements all through the menu and everything. I still walk into the cafe. Yeah. In fact, I was in a cafe in Northport last week, 2 weeks ago. Okay. And I was sitting, I have a picture on my phone. I was sitting in the cafe. Isha had a meeting, and I said, I'm going to go to Panera and grab a cup of coffee. And I was just sitting there and looking around, and I look over the bakery wall, and there's a quote on the wall that says something to the effect of that, everybody should be eating great bread every day, something like Tom Gumpel. Oh, really?
Still on the wall,
oh, that's fantastic.
Huge piece, and I'm like, okay.
Oh, that is.
I guess I'm okay with that still. But, all of us in R&D, we have, everything from the mac and cheese to the soups. To we all look back and see our fingerprint still on the menus.
That's cool. Well, I'm sure those were some good times as well.
Oh, yeah, they're the best of times.
My kids are big fans of the broccoli cheddar soup and the sourdough bowl. There's.
He doesn't share recipes. This secret.
Yeah, exactly.
My sister was asking to him, "Oh, can you share the recipe? We love that soup." And
No.
No.
4,000 pounds of cheddar cheese.
But it's fat-free, calorie-free.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I'm excited to just get a little bit more information about the vision for Broker and Baker, and the things that have you've gone through a lot of fascinating journeys, and it sounds like your lives have been intertwined in a lot of interesting ways before you're even consciously aware of it. Back to the casino that have really led you to this moment to now go and serve customers. And I know that you're a bit newer to the real estate industry aside from buying and selling properties of your own, but I'd love to just learn more about the vision that you can bring to customers here.
Yeah, and it's evolving, right? It's definitely an organic concept, right? But it's a blend of community based around food and comfort, right? Finding what we call your sense of place. Like, how do I, and I've talked to you about this before, how do you bring a career from the past into this new venture? And how do you do it authentically without it being kitschy or not making a difference ultimately for the customer, right? Mm-hmm. And the one thing that always dawns on me, I was at a showing recently, a very large house, a couple $1 million, and it was just a gorgeous place, just beautiful. And I walked into the kitchen, and they had the same stove as my house did, my little cottage downtown. This little stove with a glass top, and I was like, and they called it a chef's kitchen. And I'm saying to myself, someone could make an impact on that statement. Like, what is a chef's kitchen? How could you be the go-to person for like creating a great environment? And how do you do that, right? Mm-hmm. Do we do open houses where if you were selling your house, I would say, I would love to do an open house where I actually bake in your kitchen during open house. Mm-hmm. And when people walk in, they have fresh banana bread. And everybody's going to walk away with a nice wrapped banana bread and a recipe card that goes with it, and just start to bring meaning to the home rather than a tour that is look at this, look at this, look at this, but just bring life to the space. And I think through food and where I'm at with bakery, I think there's an opportunity to just loosen it up a little bit, and just, because the old real estate tactic is, put some chocolate chip cookies in the oven, right, to get them. But like, what if you really did that in an authentic way? Right. And so that's part of it. Call it a tactic, but that's part of it, right? And then if you have a neighborhood flyer that I'm going to send out under Broker and Baker and Isha and Tom, then half of the card has a recipe that breaks off and you put it in your cabinet at home.
I love that.
And just things like that just, I don't want to put my past away. If I have to put my past in a box and hide it under the couch, then I don't want to do this. So I'm going to try to get feedback from people like you and Isha and others. Like, that's or that's silly, don't do that. But, just guiding my past into my future. Right.
Well, I think that's very well said. And we've had some other offline conversations, as you mentioned, where I love that for both of you, you're interested to make sure that what you're doing is serving society in a bit more profound of a way than just what people would expect on the surface. That, of course, there's the real estate service, but there can be something more, an extra ingredient, if you will, that just makes it special.
And even with Turkish, I mean, this is the month of Ramadan, the holiday, and there is a specific bread that is made for this. And just in the next few days, when we get through these next couple days of, busyness, we're going to do a video that this is where it crosses over and start bringing the Turkish customer into it by baking. I think it starts to break down some of the barriers of nervousness of dealing with Americans or English, and she's been a great bridge for that relationship. Of imagine if you really tied into the culture with their breads and their specialties. And
absolutely.
But also is about the plus more than that is being that how we consultation with the customer. So we ask them for what they are looking for, and there's a lot of people is been moving to Florida recently, and when they are moved here, they are new. Other than relocation in our local area, is a lot of the new people has been moving to Florida and Sarasota.
Yes.
And then their second question, where we can eat?
Yes.
Can you recommend us for the restaurant, or where we can buy for the good bakery? And that question is being inspiring you for, so I can give the whole community as the best place for to go. You can eat that restaurant, or you can go, because we call our the branding also as being local. So international, local. So whoever decide to move to Sarasota or relocate, they need the idea for the learning community. Sarasota, Siesta Key. We have lots of beautiful place around. It's been the best beach on the USA is the Siesta Key, or the farm market, fresh market every week for the downtown. So new people, they don't know. And recently I saw on one of the platform in internet who are recently moved to Sarasota, new people has been asking a question and they get together, so learning and around. So we would like to help the people that you can go that restaurant. It's a perfect place. Or for the school, the family has been asking, where is a good school for our kids? Can you recommend? And or the list of the option for the international investor buyer or the whoever moving town and they are new, they need other than the house, how their life is gonna be here. So most people has been coming here for vacation, and 3 days later, literally they said, "Oh, we decided to move down here." I said, "Really?" And after they calling from the FaceTime and during the open house, their friend, "We just got contract. You guys has to move here too. They are bringing more people." So someone has to give them advice and guide them to teach and learn, not to learn, it's been teaching and showing around for the guiding and our local community and area. So because when I talk with the recently real estate agents too, they are moved here 2-3 years ago. And this is the difference between actually our team and I'm talking about the new agents, they moved here and they start the business. We have knowledge about for the community area and how they can find entertainment and for all around. So as you are more local than us, you were born in Sarasota? Too,
Not
right?
quite
It's
born,
been
but I've been here from about 96 on.
Okay,
I've
so
been
you
here a
are
long
way
time,
more the longer
Yes.
time to spending your life here.
Doing little videos while we're eating
Yeah.
at a new restaurant or something like that.
So
Yeah.
I guess we can help more people other than real estate to finding their
Sense of
dream
place.
house or yes, it's a more. So I guess it's going to be really helpful for the new, the customer.
Of
and
course,
it takes
yeah.
for the more involving, not just for the one-time transaction.
Right.
So the customers they sending more referral and more involving, because after they purchase their house or they sold, still they need to help from you as an agent. You are not just for the selling a house.
Correct.
You are also guiding and helping them for when they need any the vendor or
We get texts
finding
every
place.
week of what restaurants, just a
course.
list of restaurants that they're
Yeah.
looking for constantly, especially.
Yeah. Well, realtors are definitely trusted advisors and
Yeah.
wear many
Yeah.
different hats, and that's why, as realtors, we're some of the most solicited people in terms of being at the very top of the food chain, if you will, where all the service providers and vendors, they want to create relationships with the realtors because they know that we give those recommendations for the restaurants, for dry cleaning service, for lawn service, pool service, pest control, all these different
Yeah.
things. We're kind of the one that people go to. So
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that one of the things that you just struck a chord in me is like being a chef for years, and people say, "What do you do for a living?" I say, "I'm a chef." It kind of evokes a feeling or a communication, right? They react a certain way. And since I've gone into the real estate business, and people say, "What do you do?" and I'm saying, "I'm a real estate agent," it's almost like a trust, like an automatic trust is there, even though some of the statistics may differ from that. I just people automatically open these conversations about finance or the world, what's going on with the economy, like I'm supposed to know this. But
Sure.
it's interesting that there's this fundamental trust about, am I going in the right direction with my life? It's very interesting.
It is. Yes, we're definitely thought of as trusted advisors, and like any profession, like a dentist or a doctor or a lawyer, there's good doctors and bad doctors. There's good dentists, bad dentists, and so the same with realtors. Fortunately and unfortunately, but for the most part, there's a great code of ethics and a good group of people, and it definitely is a great vocation. Yeah. Was there anything else that comes to mind that you'd like to share with our audience?
Sure, I would like to share with Tom's first customer how reach out to him. Is we went a weekend for watch the sunset in the Bay Park, the Sarasota Bay Park.
Oh right, yeah.
Awesome.
So it's beautiful for to watch the sunset, right? And we have our drink and went for literally watching for the sunset. And I received a phone call. I said, no, I'm not going to answer that one. It's a weekend, and we came for spend a private time. So he said, please answer. I don't want to interrupt the business because of that. And I'm kind of like how can I describe myself? It's been, if the phone has been ringing, doesn't matter what I'm doing, I have to answer that phone. And he knows me. So he said, answer, don't worry about it. And I'm talking on the phone, for the customer about real estate, and he took my photo when I'm talking, and I
took
posted
a selfie
on
with
Facebook.
Her in the background.
And I said, even when you go to watch sunset with your love, still you have to do some business. And after we posted on Facebook, he received literally next day the phone call, one of his students from the
20
New York.
years ago. Yeah.
Hey chef, are you doing real estate now? I need the help because I prefer to sell my mom's house and my daughter is gonna sell over there. Can you send me for the referral in upstate New York? And we were planning to buy something. So he suddenly related for like the 3 transactions that started with the one post. And he was, Tom was at the beginning, he doesn't know how he is gonna change all the whole career for the social media because everyone knows him as chef.
Right.
Now he's gonna for the real estate agent, and it's been for the transition has been from become to top chef to for the real estate. It's kind of maybe the huge big change. And for who knows him, I said, I would like to tell you something that makes you comfort. You know how I start the business. I introduced myself, Isha Demir, as a realtor. So my neighbors, everyone knows me as a realtor. Even my background has been in the art, and I'm an artist. But I would like to introduce myself as a realtor. So when you start to say, I'm a broker baker team and baker and also real estate agent, so the people start to, people knows you for like a real estate agent, and you feel more comfort, and you like to have both
It's like
sides.
stepping into your identity for
Right.
a new identity, right? And for me, it was the first time I ever believed in social media. When that happened, I was like, whoa. This woman wants to sell her house in New York, her daughter's house in Orlando, and buy a house in Sarasota.
And we
So
started
that's a
coaching
path
with
of mine,
that.
but, yeah.
So the Tom Ferry, our coach, is the head coach that I used to coaching, and I restarted coaching. I recommend to Tom, let's go start coaching again for to get more the creative and idea. So we went for the last event in Miami, and I talked with the Tom Ferry, and I introduced him. He said, I remember you. And he said to him, I recognize you from somewhere. How long you are in the business? He said, I'm a brand new agent, but I'm in the business for the...
Knowing Tom Ferry's early years, we might have bumped into each other in some other way.
You never know.
Awesome.
So,
That's
yeah,
good.
we are expecting for the
Good stuff
lots
ahead,
of the good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that is excellent. Well, I'm really excited to play our role and do my part in helping you on your way as you go and serve others and help others and help them discover their sense of place and build a community around that. I think sounds fantastic. And if you'd like for anyone to reach out to you, how should they go about doing so?
So we have our website, and we use for the social media Instagram account. I created for the recently the TikTok account, but I guess TikTok is going to be goes down, right? Eventually, we are expecting.
Time will tell. I don't know. Who
We
knows?
don't know yet, but there's been lots of inquiries. So we have YouTube channel, and we can put for the link on it. And so website, YouTube channel, Instagram account, and Facebook account, mostly for the people who reach out us. And we are all over the town, and we are not just for the focusing for the Sarasota. We work for all around, like a Lakewood Ranch area, St. Pete, Tampa. So sometimes. Even I sold a house in Orlando.
Yeah, nothing.
So,
yeah, that's
yeah.
not terribly uncommon. Yeah. Well, we will be sure to link to all of that information, and I appreciate you both
Thank you for having us.
spending
Appreciate
some
it.
time
Yeah.
with us and introducing yourselves to our audience. And
Awesome.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
thank you.
Awesome.